Hey guys, Kurgan here, and today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips on how to be a better raider. So, this is more targeted towards the newer players who are just getting into raiding, and veteran hardcore raiders might find this a bit obvious, but I still think these are really quite important for raiding. So, let's get into it. Number 1, be able to play your specs to a very good level before you enter into a raid with them. You don't ever want to be learning something while learning a boss fight. You're just going to have bad results, you're not going to do as well as you could, and you're going to be dying a lot more. So, what I would suggest to you is that first you obviously learn the spec, you look at a guide, you get the macros, and you want to be spending a good amount of time on the dummies. Once you're able to do like a 5 minute pass, so like hitting the dummy for 5 minutes, doing a rotation, once you're able to do that for 5 minutes without making any mistakes, you should be able to then go into an expert. Now, once you're in the expert, you should play the spec and you should try and do it without ever dying or taking needless damage, like standing in AoEs or just without making mistakes, really. Once you feel that you're doing really well with the spec in an expert, then I would say you're ready to enter a raid with it. Number 2, use the right add-ons, okay? So really what I'd say is mandatory is you need to have the add-on Karul Alert. I'll have a link in the description, and also an add-on called Gadgets. Now, K Alert or Karul Alert is an add-on which allows you to put alerts on your UI of certain buffs, debuffs, and cast bars, and these can be shared between your guildies, and it really just helps your awareness and it makes it customizable so you can put them forever. It's like the main focus point of your UI, and you feel you're looking a lot, so you really don't miss important things. This just helps your awareness so much, and you'll be surprised at the amount of times that you kind of forget something and then suddenly the alert pops up and you remember and you save yourself from needlessly dying. The second one is gadgets, and the reason why we want gadgets is because you're able to make boss cast bars with this. So you'll be putting a target cast bar, and this means that you'll be able to see whatever your target is casting, and in a lot of boss fights the mechanics are tied into their casts, so you can literally see it before it happens, and it just improves your reaction time, and again going to help you not die like a scrub. Number 3, know what the strong specs and builds are for your class. You just need to have a good amount of knowledge about the class you're playing, and you really want to be having I guess you could say the cookie cutter specs, because in raiding it makes a lot of difference if your build is bad or if it's good. So this is primarily aimed at DPS. You should know what your top DPS spec, and in Rift most of the top DPS specs are almost always melee specs between all the classes, and you should then have a ranged option and a top ranged option. So for an example, I'll just use mages. So you'll be using 61 Harbinger as your top melee DPS, and then you'll have 61 Pyromancer as your ranged option when you need to go ranged in a boss fight. And thirdly, you should also have an AoE option. So again, using mages, you should also be able to play Stormcaller. There are a lot of fights which you do need a dedicated AoE DPSer, and also you should just be able to play AoE because there's lots of trash, and don't be that guy AoEing in 61 Pyromancer. You might wonder, where exactly do I get this information from? The official Rift forums have class forums, and there are a lot of good posts and guides in there which you can take get the information from. Also, if you're a mage, you can actually check my channel, and I have guides for most of the good specs. Right, number 4, be able to play 2 different roles. Now, in Rift raiding, there are 4 main roles, as you can call them. There's DPS, tanking, healing, and support. You should be able to play at least 2 of these. This makes your raid leader's life a lot easier when he's making his composition for the fights, And also, it makes you a player which is a lot more desirable, and you're more likely to get invited to the raid if you are versatile. Number 5. Something which is really important in raiding is to learn from your deaths. So every time you die, you want to really find out why you died, and you want to understand, was it your fault or was it someone else's fault? But you want to arrive at the correct conclusion, and if it was your fault, and if it was something which you could do differently, and if you did that thing differently, you wouldn't have died, then you should really take that up. This is something which really separates the good players from the not so good players. Just having the correct mindset of always looking to improve, always finding the right causation for mistakes. If you have this thought process, I promise you, you will die a lot less. Rift Meter is great. If you open up the deaths window, which you can make a new Rift Meter with, and it will show everyone who's died in the current fight. And then if you left click on the name, it actually comes up with a window, and it shows the healing and damage taken for the last 10 seconds before you died, and it also shows what actually killed you. This is a great tool for understanding what killed you. So that sums up my 5 tips. I hope you guys found this helpful or just enjoyed watching it. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel.